Hello and welcome. I'm super excited. I have my friend Sage here, and she's going to be sharing with us about the Ascension Keys. So, thank you for joining us. I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do, all the things.
Great. Okay. Well, my name is Sage Gwendolyn. If it's your first time meeting me, I am a spiritual coach, a mentor, an Akashic record reader, a Reiki master, quantum healer. And what I really enjoy helping people with, what my mission is helping them access higher levels of consciousness, higher level thoughts, helping them to connect to their multidimensionality, the bigger version of yourself outside of this human experience, helping you with connecting to your soul mission, living into that, and also finding your most aligned timelines.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm also a mom. I have 3 dogs. I love EDM music, much like Kiki, or electronic dance music.
Yes.
Yes. With the pump the jams.
And you love your plants. You got some plants
I
back
do.
there.
I have all of my beautiful plant babies back here. They give me a really good energy. I appreciate them very much.
Yes. Hello,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
So, what do you think is missing from the spiritual development arena?
Sure. Okay. So in spirituality, I feel like a guidebook is missing, like a framework. When I first started on my journey, it was very confusing. It's like there's so much information out there. There's so many teachers, guides, different ways to do things. And it just didn't feel like there was a very continuous way to heal, how to integrate, how to do shadow work, how to open up to your spiritual gifts, how to work with your chakras. It was just like, what exactly do I need to be focusing on? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, where do you
It's a
begin?
lot.
It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
I agree. Like you can go down multiple rabbit holes and then you feel like you didn't get anywhere. And you're like, there's too many options. I don't know where to
Mm-hmm.
begin or what's for me. And like finding that first mentor or even knowing what to ask or who to connect with. Those are things I struggled with for sure.
Absolutely. And there's things that we're not taught either. Like all the things that we have to learn on our spiritual awakening journey, it's like, and that's stuff that you have to figure out, like, well, what exactly is that I need to focus on? How do I integrate that? How do I implement it? And how all the things are webbed together. That was one of the big things for me too. It was like I was learning this over here, which seemed very separate from here and over here and over here. And it's like a big old puzzle trying to fit everything together, right? To be an aligned person, aligned being, or have like a new reality that you
Right.
move into, right? And what steps are we trying to take here?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's the path? Is there a path? Has someone walked it before me who can kind of tell me, don't do this, do this?
One of your people say agreed when I started 40 years ago, there was nothing. Yeah, especially before like social media and like YouTube and things like that. I'm sure it was much more difficult trying to find esoteric books in libraries and what have you.
Right. A lot of it was underground or taboo, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, witchcraft. When it's just healing. Yeah. Also, it was really difficult to find like tangible exercises. Like a lot of times you'll just hear, oh, just journal and meditate. Those are beneficial. Those are really helpful, but you still need some type of like framework of like, what questions am I supposed to ask myself?
Right.
Like, what exactly am I looking for within?
100%. Or like mantras and affirmations, repeating them. But do you believe them when you're saying them? Or are you just like, what's the inner work that's involved? And I know you talk about the 4 energetic bodies, which is huge because I know I was very focused on the physical and I had ignored a lot of the mental and emotional and really hadn't even scratched the surface on my spiritual journey. It was kind of on the back burner before I started my journey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's it. Sometimes when you're trying to heal your whole body, that's a lot. It's very overwhelming, right? Because there's just so much to focus on. But if we can break it up into different segments, like your physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional, it's like, how about just one day we focus on spiritual, one day we focus on the mental, one day we focus on the emotional body, right?
Yeah.
But then again, what do we do? Like, what do you do to heal those things?
And sometimes it's doing nothing. Like there was a post that really resonated with me. You did like, I don't need to heal today. I don't need to make progress. I don't need to do anything. Sometimes it's just a nap day or a celebration of look how far you've come, my dear. Like you don't have to, because then you can get on this hamster wheel of healing, which I've been guilty of, where it's like the next thing, because it's layers, right? You take one layer back and other things start to come up, which is great. You know, we are making progress. We are hopefully feeling better, but it's, are you putting those things into action, and are you making the changes in all areas? I guess is just
Oh
my.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. With the inner children, sometimes I'm like, you don't need to dig through the trauma. Sometimes it's just creating safety and security for them and having fun,
Yes.
not all the digging. Right? You've already spent a lot of time digging through all that trauma in your life, ruminating, trying to figure out how to like change your behavioral patterns. Everybody like on the spiritual awakening journey is pretty self-aware. We're
Yes.
always analyzing self.
So
Yeah.
now you and I met through inner child healing. You had popped up, I don't know, Instagram, TikTok, universe was like, hey, here's your person. And I was like, I need to work with her. And I remember telling you, I was like, I'm really nervous. I don't know how far back I'm ready to go. And you made it super fun. But can you tell us a little bit about that inner child work that you do?
Oh, for sure. Okay. So inner child work is the basics framework of everything that I do with myself or my clients, because that is where most of our behavioral patterns and our triggers are rooted in. That's where our beliefs are coming from. That's where we were taught how reality works and what we're capable of achieving based on other people's trauma projections or what they think is available for them in their lives. It's kind of like playing the telephone game. That's how generational trauma and like limiting beliefs and you know all this fear mongering, all this stuff. I'm talking into a can to the next generation. They're kind of hearing what I'm saying, and then it gets skewed, and then it just keeps going and going and going and going. And so when we're doing inner child healing, we're really taking all of that stuff and like busting up the foundations to lay a new plan for your life, to re-identify with the version that you want to be outside of those beliefs and those narratives and those stories and other people's trauma.
I love that.
Yes.
And it's super fun. Like you take the weight of it and make it totally doable. And we have multiple inner children, which I didn't know before working with you.
Yes.
I thought there was one, and I had to protect and take care of her, not realizing there were multiple. What can you tell us about that journey?
Oh, that's a great point. Okay, so definitely when I first started my journey, I felt like I was really at a loss of how to heal my inner child. Like I couldn't hear them very clearly. And along, you know, healing, I realized, oh no, there's so many of them within, because your 5-year-old is going to have different experiences than your 9-year-old and your 12-year-old and your 15-year-old. They all have different trauma wounds. You have to speak to a 5-year-old differently than you would a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old version of yourself. And so when you speak to a specific age consciousness level within yourself, let's say a 9-year-old that's dealing with imposter syndrome, you need to talk to them on a 9-year-old level, not your adult like you're talking to your bestie. Okay, we need to speak to them like they're an actual 9-year-old and hold space for them to heal through those things that they went through. You're their parent, their teacher, their guardian that they needed in the past. And so we need to bring it down to their level and say, how can I help you? Tell me how you're feeling. Let's process through these emotions together. Let's release that shame and guilt or whatever you're holding on to. That is actually what does the releasing. Yeah. It's great to work on yourself in the here and now. We have to do that. But then you got to take it steps lower into your inner child, into your subconscious. And that's where you actually release it permanently, those wounds. Yeah.
100%. And tied into that, you have said a few things about your higher self and how we have multiple higher selves and how from our higher self to our inner children. And that it took me a little bit to wrap my brain around that. Can you chat a little bit about that for us?
Sure. I always chalk it up to like when you're a kid and you're going through like really rough experiences. If you're an empath, light worker, dealt with trauma, and you say to yourself, I feel like somebody's watching over me. And if I can just make it to the next day, I'll be okay. And it's like kind of like that guiding force that keeps pushing you forward to keep going, even through like the struggles and the challenges. That's because there was a future you. It's you right now. It was you as the guardian, the protector, the teacher, and you've been working on healing yourself so that one day you can come back in and more actively help them heal once you have the tools and the resources that you need that you've picked along your spiritual awakening journey. And then you have multiple versions of you ahead of you. There's a sage a Kiki a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And when you learn how to quantum manifest, you can actually connect with these higher level versions of yourself and get very specific instructions about how to achieve your dreams. Not you sitting here struggling, oh, what do I need to do? I don't know how to get these things done. What steps do I need to take? No, you have a very clear picture of how to achieve them.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
You are launching something very exciting and very new called the Quantum Evolution Academy. So
Yes.
Tell us how that idea came to you and why you're doing that.
Absolutely. Okay. So the Quantum Evolution Academy, super excited about that. It's starting in February 1st. And so one of the reasons I wanted to start this is because spirituality is very confusing when you're trying to heal and integrate and expand. And I wish somebody would have sat me down and said, hey, these are all the fundamental things that you need to know and why they're all correlated and how to implement them in your life. And it would have saved me so much time and energy. I'm talking tens of thousands of hours over these years of researching different modalities, different teachers, different mentors, different guides. And I wanted to put it in just one place so everybody could work through it very easily and then be able to come out on the other side just feeling so much more aligned and like they have a compass and that they have direction and clarity and tools and resources and exercises. And so they just feel much more capable of making these changes in their lives.
I love that.
Yes. And I will say it was not my intention originally to get into the Akashic records and soul contracts and karmic lessons and all of these higher level esoteric things. I just wanted to heal and be happy. That's it. Just wanted to get to a place where I could experience peace. I had so much anxiety and depression in my life and eating disorder. We've talked about that, and body dysmorphia and narcissistic abusive relationships. I'm like, I just want to be able to just breathe, right? And have some more fun in my life, right? And so I went through this journey, spiritual awakening journey, and I was just grasping at straws, like whatever would help me get out of my current situation. And so I finally got myself to a place where I found that peace and that happiness. That was also the key to unlocking all of my spiritual gifts. Becoming a channeler, accessing higher thoughts, higher levels of consciousness, being able to tap into different timeline versions of myself. That's where all the exciting magic started happening. Tapping into the unicorn realm and the dragon realm and the fairy realm. It just turns out I had to clear out all the gunk that was blocking those channels, which is not anybody's fault that gunk is there. That's generational trauma from the government, culture, religion, all these things, all these projections. It said yes.
Yes.
But it is our responsibility to go in and heal, especially for our inner children, to liberate them from, those past traumas and that past PTSD.
And I think that's another thing I really enjoyed about working together was we didn't have to label it. We didn't have to relive it. We didn't have to figure out where it came from. We just had to release it and let it go. Oh, yeah. I did not know you didn't intend to get into the Akashic records and all of the things.
I just wanted to be happy.
I just wanted to do one thing, and now I'm all over here.
It took a turn.
Hard, right?
But that is what, if we that's where you start getting into soul contracts. Okay. That was the plan all along, but I couldn't see it because of all the heavy sludgy stuff that I need to clear out.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So how did
you'd be surprised? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you could be surprised at what kind of turns your life will take once you clear out all of that stuff.
It is so true. It is so true. Yeah. I mean, we have to make room for what we want, but if we're holding on to whatever it is, it can be good stuff too. We're like, sometimes we need to close those chapters so we can start new ones, right?
Absolutely. But, absolutely.
No, my question was, how did you first get introduced to the Akashic records?
Oh, the Akashic records. Okay. So my friend sent me a podcast that this woman was talking about a whole bunch of different things, but then she said the Akashic records. I said, "Oh, what is that?" Like it was like a keyword, like a ping. And so I went and did some research on YouTube about what it was, and there was something within my soul that was like, "This is for us." Like, not something like, oh, I want to learn. No, this is something that like resonated very, very deep within me, deeper than anything had before. Like any modality, any understanding, any knowledge. Okay, so I started reading this book, Linda Howe, and it's How to Read Your Akashic Records. And I said, oh, I've always been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been accessing people's Akashic records. I've always been really good at what I thought was behavioral pattern recognition, but it was actually frequency reading is what I was doing. And I was able to like feel imposter syndrome within other people or feminine wounds, masculine wounds, and say like, hey, this is how you heal all these things.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it's coming from. This is where the wound started in childhood, and helping people see the big picture of themselves and how to get on their most aligned timeline. I just wasn't consciously aware that's what I was doing. I thought that's what everybody did. I thought that was just like a normal thing for everybody. So once I started learning more about the records and I was more consciously aware of what I was doing, that's when things like really started opening up. And I said, okay, I'm going to practice on myself, and started expanding. And I said, you know what? I think I want to start doing this with other people. I want to help people be able to access these things within themselves. And then I started giving sessions.
Love that.
Yes.
So that brings us to your program. So what can you tell us about it?
Sure. Like what's all included in the program? Yes. Okay. So in order for everyone to understand like what the program is, I want to talk about the chakra system really quick.
Yeah.
So we can compare it to that. Okay. Because the chakra system is a little bit easier for everybody to understand. Everybody has a pretty basic concept of that, but we'll go over it really quickly. So we have to start with our root chakra first, right? In order to go up that ladder and get to our crown chakra, where all the fun stuff is, the Akashic records and soul contracts and spiritual, esque woo things. Okay. So our root chakra is over safety and security within ourselves, but also within our reality. Then we move up to our sacral chakra, which is our emotions and our relationships with other people. Then we go to our solar plexus chakra, which is willpower, determination, your confidence. Your heart chakra, which is over trusting yourself, trusting others, self-love. Then we get to our throat chakra, which is expression. This is expressing yourself authentically, but also standing strong in your truths and your beliefs and your values. Your third eye chakra is over your imagination and your intuition. And then your crown chakra is over connecting to the higher etheric realms, or different dimensions, if you will, different frequencies, your spiritual gifts, your soul mission. What is your favorite chakra? I wanted to ask you that.
What do you think it is before I share?
I think that your favorite would probably be your throat chakra or your third eye chakra.
My heart chakra.
But I may be wrong. What is it? Is it your throat chakra?
My heart chakra. I've done a lot of work on
your heart chakra. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So my favorite color has always been green. I love my blues and purples. And then it was like the one I was drawn to as soon as I learned what the chakras were. And then I know it can be pink. And the self-love thing was what I was working on. I could give and give and give, but I was not giving back to myself. So that has a special place in my heart. And Kimberly, even when she was doing an activation, she says I have a golden lion wrapped around it. Mm-hmm. It's really cool.
I love that. I did think it was the throat or the third eye because you love purple and blue so much. You have so much purple everywhere.
What's your favorite chakra?
Mine would definitely be my throat chakra, as evidenced by my hair and my background. Yeah, I'm a blue queen, but it is my favorite. Yeah. Okay, so with the program, how it's working at more of like that 3D human level down in the bottom chakras, and then we're making our way up into the higher etheric realms. Same thing with the program that I run. So first, we start kind of with our root chakra in our central nervous system. Mm. That is the basis of everything. If you are in fear and anxiety and panic mode and fight or flight, it's hard to do anything in life. Yeah, it just makes life feel like jello that you're walking through. And life is fighting you almost, and you're in survival mode, right?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to improve areas of your life if you are dysregulated. So that's the first place that we start. Then we move up to subconscious mindset reprogramming. This is the stories and the narratives that are creating your reality around you. This is everything that you have been taught from other people that you don't want as a representative in your reality, right? These are all the limiting beliefs that we carry. That is what is creating your reality out in front of you. And sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow because it's like, why would I choose all these negative things in my life? You didn't. It's your inner children inside who were taught these things. And so that's what they're seeking. That's what they're going after. But at any time, you can put in a new story. You can create a new life for yourself. But you got to figure out what those self-limiting beliefs are first. You got to know what they are and know where they're coming from. And that's where we get into inner child healing. That's where they're coming from. Right? So when we actually work with them and do those self-diagnoses and do that soul diving, we can speak with them and help them work through that and ask them, well, what would you prefer? Let me be the higher self, the guardian, the mentor, and help you get there. Right? Yeah. And then we move up to self-concept. This is how you view yourself, your identity. Who are you outside of those things? Like I could say, I'm Sage, I'm a coach, I'm a mom, dog owner, all these different things. But who am I outside of that? Who am I on a multidimensional level? Because we tend to box ourselves in and constrict ourselves into these very specific stories and what we're capable of or what we think that we're worthy of deserving. But who are you outside of that? You are the creator. You can have whatever you want as long as we're working on pushing out those self-limiting beliefs out of our energy field and helping our inner children unravel that trauma around us and helping us feel safe and secure in our reality to take leaps of faith, go into the unknown, try something new, be a new person. Right? And then we move up to quantum manifestation. That's one of my favorite things is when you have a very clear picture of who you want to shift into. Like, who is future Kiki? Who is future Sage? What kind of emotions are they feeling? What kind of money are they making? Where are they vacationing? What kind of thoughts are they thinking? What kind of action steps are they taking? When you have a very clear picture of who that is, it's so much easier to become that person because you can go in meditation or access your Akashic records and speak with them directly. They will tell you exactly how to get there. You don't feel lost. Yeah. And then we move up to our Akashic records. And I'll just briefly explain that in case anybody's new to anybody. So your Akashic records are a vibrational record of all of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions across all space, time, and dimensions. And so if you are of an understanding that we're from source and that everyone is a different reflection of everyone, and that you've had multitudes of lifetimes, you're reincarnating as different beings, whether that's a rock or a rabbit or a person. Okay? When you reach the level of your Akashic records, when you learn how to get deep, deep, deep in meditation, right? And how to heal your inner children, that's a form of Akashic healing, right? Going backwards in time and space, okay? You can start accessing different timeline versions of yourself through different incarnations who are experts at things. Let me go in meditation and find a version of myself that's really good with money or really good at leadership or really good at Reiki and channel from them and get information. It's almost like building a council around yourself to get you into your preferred reality.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those are all the things that I am teaching in the Quantum Evolution Academy and tangible, applicable exercises and why they are all correlated with one another and step-by-step processes. So make it very easy. It doesn't sound easy. It sounds like a lot, but I like making things as easy as possible and just very easy to understand.
Yeah. I love that. So what do you think people could focus on to see the most amount of growth in this area?
Okay. If I was going to pick one thing, I would say central nervous system. Okay. Like we talked about, I want you to envision like everybody's a house. Okay. Everybody is a house. Everybody's houses are going to look different from one another, but the foundations are going to be very similar.
Ooh.
Underneath. Okay. So
Okay.
what I would focus on, most important, is your central nervous system. You have to feel safe and secure. You have to clear out the limiting beliefs, subconscious mindset reprogramming, and work with your inner children to release trauma and PTSD. That will clear the path for so many things to come into your life. When we are talking about manifesting, a lot of times people are getting really caught up on like the 3D tangible things, like the house, the car, the money, the cruise boat, whatever you want to get on, okay, or your yacht. Okay. But it's actually the emotions that we want to feel. We want to feel happy. We want to feel at peace. We want to feel joy and magic and whimsy and laughter. When you are bogged down with those heavy things, there's no room for the good feelings. There's no room for the good emotions, the good frequencies, right? So when we clear all of that stuff, the foundation out, now you can actually channel peace in your life and channel happiness and bliss and safety and security feelings. Yeah, everybody's a channeler. If you are living in negativity in a life you do not prefer, it's because you're channeling negative vibrations and frequencies based off of past experiences, past PTSD, past trauma. You can change that though. You can be a channeler of whimsical, magical things in your life. But you got to do the foundational work first. So,
Central nervous system. Central nervous system.
Central nervous system, subconscious mindset reprogram, inner child healing. And it is kind of a tougher journey in the beginning. I'm not going to lie to people. Okay. Like it is really intense. It brings up a lot of emotions and sometimes stress and anxiety, but it's kind of like a mountain. Like it's hard going up the mountain, but once you get to the top, it's very easy to go down the mountain. Right? And everything in your life just gets so much easier because you're not living with all these filter lenses and these projections and these distortions. It's like, no, I can see very clearly how to make action steps in my life.
Love that. So you mentioned channeler. How would you define a person who is a channeler? You said, oh, we all are or can be.
Sure. Okay. So especially empaths and light workers, we're all very hypersensitive people. We're picking up on things constantly. And a lot of times people are picking up on other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which makes us very overstimulated. Okay. That's why people get like very socially anxious because I used to have a lot of social anxiety. Yes. And typically that's because in childhood, we grew up in traumatic households, right, of some sorts. And so that makes us hypersensitive to want to look for negative vibrations and frequencies, which is very shocking to some people. They're like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, your inner children are doing that from a safety trauma response. Mm-hmm. They're saying, let me find all the scary people in the room that could hurt me, not physically, sometimes physically, but energetically. Like right. Who in here is angry, who in here is sad, who in here, is having a chaotic vibration, because at least if I know, then I'm safe. Everyone is doing some type of channeling like that. Especially if you're trauma, okay, background. What we have to do is we have to come in and refocus. What is it that we're placing energy and attention on? When I used to go in the stores, it used to cause so much fear and anxiety. I had to go on this long process with my inner children where we sit in the car, okay, and we take some deep breaths. And I say, instead of focusing on the scary things when we go in the store, how about we find people who are smiling? How about we find colorful things in the store? What is going to bring us the most magic into our life? I'd make it like a fun game, okay? Right? And then when we go in the store, I have a much better experience. I come back out to the car and I'm like, wasn't that great? Isn't it great to focus on happy things that bring us joy and laughter, and fun and magic? And the more you do that, you start teaching them that you are the higher self. They don't have to be afraid. They don't have to feel nervous while you're out. Awesome. We're going to focus on what we do want in life, right? But channeling, sometimes people are like scared about channeling because they're like, I don't want to channel aliens. And I don't want to channel, I don't want to channel like extraterrestrial beings. And I'm like, that's not exactly what channeling is part of that, right? Like some people do connect to different starseed lineages. different beings like mantis beings, different spirit guides, but you can be a channeler of your higher self and your inner children. We can channel guidance and direction from both of them. Sometimes your inner children are your higher self. Yeah. They're the keepers of our fun and our magic and our whimsy and our imagination. They're the ones that help you create a new life for yourself when you remove the trauma and the PTSD, right? Sometimes we're just trying to get back to a child state of wonder and amazement and curiosity.
Yes.
Yes.
Love the state of curiosity. Because then we don't have this like overwhelming need to label and judge, right? When we were kids, we just like, oh, that's interesting. I want to try that. I want to try that. I didn't like that. Things were yummy or yucky, right? It was simple. It wasn't so complicated. So
absolutely.
You.
Yeah.
My desk is moving.
You can also be a channeler, like if you want to be an inner child. I mean, not inner child. If you want to be an energy healer, right? You channel Reiki, you channel light language, light codes, you channel the Akashic records, you channel astrology, you channel tarot cards, you channel oracle cards. There's so many different things, not just for other people, but for you in your own life as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So much. We start with ourselves usually, right?
Yeah.
And then move on from there. So why do you feel people would want to become a channeler? Like if they aren't already, or if they want to learn more about their gifts, why would that help them?
Sure. Okay. So for me, again, I didn't set out to be a channeler. I just wanted to be happy and heal. But along my journey of, just learning about spiritual things, I found out that channeling, again, is more than just channeling beings. It's channeling a new life for yourself. It's channeling happiness. It's channeling peace. It's learning how to hold those vibrations and those frequencies in your body. Because everybody, okay, I want you to think of yourself like a battery, okay? Everybody has a different level of these vibration and frequencies that they are available to hold. So this person over here maybe has like 5% capacity for happiness, while this person over here has 50% capacity for happiness. And that's based on how much trauma and PTSD and filter lenses and distortions and limiting beliefs and things that you have. But when you learn how to clear those things out, you start to open up and expand those frequency containers. You start to feel a little bit more happier every day, a little bit more peace, a little bit more security and safety. And then one day you wake up and like that's your homeostasis point. You have better relationships, you have a better career, you make better money, you're in your soul mission. Like all of these things that you wanted in your life are available to you when you learn how to hold the frequencies that they are going to bring you. Right? And when I say frequencies, you can interchange that with emotions.
Okay. That's helpful. I love that analogy.
And I'm going to give everybody an exercise for that too. Okay. So we can do it together. Okay. Okay. So sometimes you're like, oh, well, I have a lot of things going on in my life. Like how am I going to experience joy? How do I fill my battery full of more joy? Okay. So we're going to think about something that we want to manifest. So Kiki, what do you want to manifest in your life?
More joy.
Something that's going to bring you joy. Like something that would bring you joy.
Going to Disney.
Oh, I love that. Okay, yeah, it's very joyous. Okay, so we want to go to Disney. Okay, so not you necessarily, but some people that are trying to manifest Disney. Sometimes that brings on a lot of stress and anxiety because you're like, well, how am I going to get there? And they're thinking about the plane tickets, and they're thinking about packing, and they're thinking about how much it's going to cost, and the lines are going to be really long, and like all of these things. And that's actually what keeps our manifestations from us, because we are imbuing it with negative energy. So your body is like, I don't want to go to Disney. That sounds stressful, and that sounds like it's going to bring a lot of chaos. So your conscious mind wants to go to Disney, but your subconscious mind is saying, no, that's scary. That sounds really intense, right? So we need to reframe the energetics around joy, okay? And infusing that into Disney. Okay, so I want you to think of a time in your life, and you can close your eyes if you want. And we're going to think of a time in our life when we experienced a lot of joy. We were just so filled with like happiness and cheer. What was that for you?
We would go to the beach every summer with my grandparents and love walking up and down the boardwalk and riding the rides and funnel cake and cotton candy and It was just my favorite week every summer. Loved
I
it.
love that. How old were you?
Oh, at the earliest I can remember, I want to say 5 or 6.
Oh, that's really early. Okay.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
sit on my brother's or my dad's shoulder, and I was like, I want to go here. I want that food, and like we
Oh,
would
you're
do.
like directing everybody. Very cute. Did
Yeah,
you have some like favorite rides that you used to go on?
I don't know that the rides were my. I was a big food person, so loved my funnel cake. We had
Okay.
our favorite pizza place, and then as we got a little older, we would get up early and we would get the bikes and the Surreys and we would ride them before. So I
Mhm.
would go to the beach in New Jersey. So we had the tram car. So we only had like an hour or 2 hour window, and we would ride as many times back and forth as possible. But I'd race with my brother. We'd ring the bells. We're like, get out of the way, because they had like lanes that you could ride your
Yeah.
bike, and people weren't supposed to be in those lanes, but they would be in them. And so
Okay.
I would bob and weave. I was like, I'm not putting on my brakes. I'm going to beat my brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
that, that brought me great joy.
I love that. Okay. Okay, cute. Okay. So now that we have felt that vibration and frequency in our body, right? From a
Yeah.
memory that we have, okay? That's when we come in and we say, this is exactly what Disney is going to feel like.
Ooh, cool.
It's gonna feel like me on my bikes with my brother, and then riding on the shoulder and eating funnel cake and all the bright colors and all the people and the fun and the magic and joy. This is what Disney feels like. I'm not worried about all the ins and outs and the money and the travel and all those things. I'm gonna focus on channeling more joy in my life, and the universe will figure out how to get that to me. Still gotta take action steps. Like we still gotta book the flights, we still gotta do all those things,
Right.
right? But it takes so much pressure off and the weight and the anxiety and the fear when you're like, I'm going to focus on joy. When you do that with your manifestation, you have much clearer pictures of how to make those things happen, or the
Yeah.
action steps that you need to take, right? And you're much more open to the realm of possibilities. Like, what if somebody's like, hey, Kiki, I just booked this Disney trip over here. How about you come with me? Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Right? That's because you were resonating with so much joy inside that your friend got the etheric ping of like, oh, I should invite Kiki. She's, without her knowing, right?
Yeah.
She's resonating with so much joy. It'd be so much fun to go with Kiki, right? That's where these opportunities open up to us, where maybe you don't have to actually buy the plane tickets and all of those things. That actually happened to me. I manifested a trip to Disney, a free trip to Disney.
I love that.
I had a conversation with my son and I said, where do you want to go this year? And he said, I really want to go to Disney. And I started to kind of get stressed and anxious because I was a single mom. I was also working like 12-hour shifts. Like I was really struggling. And I was like, there ain't no way that I'm going to be able to afford to go to Disney. Okay. And instead I said, you know what? If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And I'm going to go ahead and start planning a trip to Disney, like just for the funsies. Okay.
Yeah.
I like how, like what hotel are we going to stay in? I want to go research the rides. I hadn't been to Disney since I was like 4. So I was trying to make it as real as possible. And I was going in meditation and pretending like I was at Disney with him, and like we were having conversations and kiki and laughing, having a good time. And then a couple days later, his grandmother on his dad's side called us and invited us to go to Disney for free. Yep. And I went to Disney for a week for free.
Oh my gosh.
But she also, she didn't have to invite me for one, because
Right.
this is probably TMI. Okay. But my son's father and I are not together anymore. So she could have just said, hey, I'm going to take, you know, his father and then him. But she got that intuitive ping to ask me too, because I was resonating with so much like joy and happiness and love that I was a frequency match for that manifestation. But that's a form of channeling. Like I used my channeling abilities to channel more joy attached to Disney and then made it manifest.
Yeah, I think we often lose the thread and don't realize how powerful our thoughts, feelings, and vibration actually are to our reality.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I say it's so important to help your inner children heal, and the subconscious mindset reprogram, the central nervous healing, because that is really creating your reality around you, whether you are aware of it or not.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yes. And so when you clear those things out, you can insert a new story, a new narrative.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I have had a few clients reach out to me and say things like, "Oh, my clairs are blocked," or I don't have all of them," or they need help opening them up or connecting. They can't hear their higher self. What advice would you give to people like that? Where can they start to kind of start to hear their own intuition, their own thoughts and feelings, higher self guides?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's one of the things that I teach in the Quantum Evolution Academy. It's a lot more than I can teach like here, but I
Right.
can give
Yeah.
I can give some few
Baby version.
pointers. Yes.
Little tips. I know that's
Yeah.
like multi-layered. There's probably a lot to it.
Just a lot of layers.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Mhm. Okay. So one is trusting yourself. That's a big one. Okay.
You saw me take a big deep breath
Yeah.
there. You know, my
Yeah.
word for this year is trust.
Yes. Oh yeah, for your theme for the year is trust.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of these things are like intangible, and you don't have proof of them. It's like you have to really learn to hear how to hear your intuition. And one of the things is like working through that fear programming and all those limiting beliefs, all the things that we talked about before to clear the path for you to hear your intuition, right? And trust yourself. Okay. Yeah. A thing with inner children specifically is a lot of people don't trust themselves because they were invalidated as children, or they were told magic is not real, or it's evil, or it's witchcraft, like all these different things. And so those are those filter lenses distortions that you have to work through. So one, inner child healing.
Yeah.
Asking yourself, like, what is blocking me from my magic? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it fear that I'm going to be wrong? Is it fear that I'm going to be persecuted? Is it fear that I'm going to blip into a different portal or dimension if I start doing this type of work, or I'm going to start meeting aliens or whatever? There's a lot of societal programming as well that scares us, like movies and things like that talk about, how these things are, evil. Okay. So we have to work backwards and figure out, where did these first things start? Is it in childhood? Is it things that I picked up in media? Is my parents? Is it religion? Is it culture? All these different things. And then start asking yourself, how can I bring more magic into my life? That's a great place to start, just right there. Before we start trying to channel and access the Akashic records, because there can be a lot of fear around that. Okay. Asking yourself, what can I do that will make me feel more magical? Watching magical movies, looking at magical pictures on Pinterest. Okay. making magic safe. That's what we have to do first. They say it's okay to imagine. It's okay to dream. That's a great place to start. Okay. Doing children's meditations. That's one of the ways that I started. My son used to listen to this. It's a channel that's great. I recommend to everybody. New Horizons. She's an energy healer. She has hundreds of magical meditations. But I used to do them with him to help him fall asleep. But then when I got into inner child healing, I was like, I do not feel safe to channel. I do not want to be persecuted as a witch. I do not want, like all these different things. Okay.
Right.
And so I said, how about I just start doing children's meditations with me and my inner children, and taking them to fairyland, or taking them to the unicorn realm or the dragon realm, right? I needed to just feel safe doing that. Okay. Yeah, because I had always been told all my life, like, don't be silly. Like, you need to be, more focused. You need to grow up. You need to be an adult. Like, all that stuff doesn't matter. Like, you need to be more tangible, like goal oriented. Like, I've always been a super goal oriented person, but like that only take you so far. You also need to be able to imagine a new life for yourself. Yeah. So making yeah. So we need to make magic safe to begin. Okay. And then people are like, well, I don't know what my abilities are. Finding out what your clair abilities are. There's 8 main pillars. Okay. And you can go on Google and type in 8 clair abilities. These are your psychic, okay, gifts. Okay. You're just very sensitive. Okay. This is how you receive and interpret information. Do you know what your clairs are?
No. I don't know what they're called. I don't know what they're called. I know that I hear words and phrases. I know I'm very visual, colors, images, and then thoughts, feelings, sense, and knowing. Those are probably the top 3, but I couldn't tell you what the names of them are. I think clairaudient, clairsentient, and I don't know the third one, but
We can go over some of them. So there's the psychic gift of hearing. So some people hear things outside of themselves, and then I hear things in my internal ear that sound like they're coming from my own voice. That's where you have to learn how to really trust yourself, because it's like, oh no, I'm hearing spirit guides, I'm hearing my higher self, my inner children, or intergalactic beings, if you will. But it sounds like it's coming through my own voice, but it's a different personality. It's something that I wouldn't normally say. It's a thought that I wouldn't normally think, right? And then you have clairvoyance, where you actually see images in your mind.
Yeah.
Some people see things outside of them, and then some people see things inside your mind's eye, okay? Then you have clairsentience. This is where you have gut feelings about things. This is where you are having sensations in your body to let you know, right? It's kind of similar to claircognizance, where you just know things. Like you have no prior knowledge, you just are aware. Okay. A lot of light workers and empaths are like that. They're like, I just know. Okay. But clairsentience is knowing things by feeling things in your body. Clairempathy is feeling other people's thoughts, or knowing what other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions are. Clairsalience is smelling things that aren't there. Like if you had a grandfather that used to smoke, and you like smell smoke, and he's around. So it's very helpful to know what your different clairs are, and then you can start picking up tools and resources. And sometimes you have multiple clairs. Some people have all of them, and you can learn all of them. But just some people are gifted right out the gate with certain clairs. And so if you do research about all 8 of them, it will give you a better depiction of where to head with your gifts. Or you can learn how to pick up different ones, different clairs.
I love that. And I would say that the more I've cleared out and the more work I've done around my central nervous system and inner child healing, the more I've unlocked and the stronger they've gotten. Do you find that to be the case as well?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So my main ones were claircognizance, that's just the internal knowing. And then clairsentience, like feeling things in my body, that makes me a really good frequency finder. Like for people, that makes me a really good energy healer. And a lot of other people, I was very much struggling with clairvoyance and clairaudience, like being able to hear and see things. And the more that I cleared out, it helped me trust myself more, right? It helped me have more courage to like go after these things and not feel wackadoo, right? Yeah. And also clearing those things out, like the inner child healing, subconscious mindset reprogram, central nervous system, is also how I found my soul tribe.
Yeah.
It took off all those filter lenses and those distortions of like relationships that I didn't need to be in. It helped me go towards the ones that I do need to be in, right? Yes.
And some fell away on their own, and some it was harder to say goodbye to, but I'm like, okay, that door's closed. I'm not, I'm on a different, I don't want to say different level, but definitely different vibe, different frequency. And I'm not able to take everybody from my past with me, but it did open up so much more room for more people like me. And that was a big game changer, because that safety and security that I felt, knowing there were so many of us going through similar things, or who had gone through it and could give me tips like you're giving us today on how to kind of rise above it. Total game changer for my leaps and bounds, quantum shifts for me.
Oh yeah. If we want to, we're gonna full circle this here. Okay. So one of the things that has really helped me with my inner children is asking, is this person in my life, whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners, are they helping my inner children heal, or are they continuing to hurt them based off of old PTSD and trauma, right? So when I started asking those questions and started, kind of re-regulating the time and energy that I'm spending with certain people and making more space for soul tribe members, I started getting more magical people around me. And it started really verifying in my reality, oh, I'm not the only one. Yes. And this is safe. Now I have all these people around me that are saying, no, you're not wackadoo. Right? Like, we're experiencing this too. And then we're helping each other learn and grow and heal and evolve. And now that's all that I have around me. Like at one point, it was just relationships that were really detrimental to me because of the trauma and PTSD. That's what my inner children were going after. But helping them heal, I'm like, Now it's just amazing people, beautiful beings of light. They're all neurodivergent. They're all, you know, like healing and growing, and we're each other's cheerleaders and all these things. So that also can help you with your magic. It can be very lonely and isolating when you think that you're psychic and there's nobody else around you. Okay. Right. And like, who am I supposed to be asking these questions to? That's also why it's really important to find communities. Like, that's also a reason I wanted to start the Quantum Evolution Academy. Like, come be part of our psychic witch woo alien group. Okay. So we can help support you and give you answers and guidance and help you on your path.
I love that. So who would you say this program is for? Like, how would you know I'm ready for this?
Sure. I would say if you're on a spiritual awakening journey, because it is very woo. Okay. It is very, very esoteric. Okay. But even if you're not and you just need help kind of getting out of the current reality that you're in, if it's one that you don't prefer, there's a lot of stress and anxiety and chaos, even just the 4 fundamental things that we were talking about, central nervous system, inner child healing, subconscious, and self-concept, that's going to help you so much on your journey. But I would say if you want to really expand your gifts, understand your gifts, this is going to be for you. If you want to learn how to heal your inner children, if you want to learn how to access your Akashic records, if you're an energy healer, you're a coach, even if you're a more seasoned healer and a coach, I am teaching in a way that is going to help you teach other people these methodologies. And so you will be able to take all of these practices, all of these methods, and then apply them as an inner child healer or Akashic record reader yourself. So you'll be able to pick up those modalities. Yes. Or if you just want to bring more fun into your life and magic and make more money and go on more vacations and maybe even work for yourself, like whatever that you're trying to bring in, this is going to teach you the framework to be able to channel these things into your life, heal, integrate, and expand. So it's for anybody that really wants to take a metaphysical, spiritual approach on quantum manifestation.
Yes. And I will say I'm really excited. I'm taking the program.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have you there. Yes.
And like I'm currently an Akashic record reader, but I want more. I want to go deeper. I love and I'm drawn to the inner child part of it. And I got a sneak peek behind the scenes where I know what's coming. And it is a very robust, comprehensive, amazing program. I know the videos are going to be short and sweet. We'll have them forever so I can go back to them, which I love. I'm a nerd. I like to review my notes and go back to things and just to have the community. So
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just excited.
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry. There was like a lag, and so I was trying to catch you in between. Okay. So originally it was going to be an 8-week program. And then I started doing the outline. I was like, oh my God, this is so much information that I'm bringing everybody. I said, we're gonna have to make this a 12-week program. So all of these lessons are going to be self-paced courses. And even though I was talking mainly today about central nervous system and subconscious mind-set reprogram, inner child healing, we're doing a lot of other things too. We're learning about how time is not linear. We're learning about soul contracts and karmic lessons and how to access your oversoul. And we do all that fundamental, like harder stuff in the beginning. And then we start kind of getting more into like the more fun and the more fun things. Yes. But I break them down in very tangible, easy ways to understand. They're very short form videos, but a lot of them be prepared that as well. But you can go through the courses or the lessons at your own pace. We're going to be meeting once a week on Zoom for a live Q&A, so you can ask me questions in real time. We're going to be doing activations. It's going to be a great support system for everyone. There's a Facebook group where everybody will be able to connect with one another, and you'll always have access to the Facebook community. You'll always have access to the course. And so all throughout your journey, I'll be doing updates every time I do launches, and you'll be a part of all the new information that comes through as well. And so we're going to start on February 1st, and I would absolutely love to have you join us. It's going to be great.
I love that. So where can people find you? Where do they hang out? Where can they reach out if they have questions?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Soul Harmony Magic. You can email me at soulharmonymagic.com and ask me any questions that you have about working one-on-one, whether in the program or an Akashic record reading, inner child healing, anything that you need. And then for the program, you can also go to my different socials, and there's links in my bio and all my socials, and you can learn more about the Quantum Evolution Academy there.
And I will also share below all those links so you don't have to go searching, and we'll make it super easy so you can find it.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Of course. So are there any final thoughts or any channel messages that are coming through that you want to share before we sign off and say goodbye for today?
Sure. I will say, we talked about a lot of things, and sometimes that can feel very overwhelming of like, oh my God, I have so much work to do. Okay. Like I have so many things I need to do. One, hold grace and compassion with yourself. Like if you're here listening to this right now, like I know that you're doing the work, okay, to resonate with the things that me and Kiki was saying. And so sometimes we don't take enough time to sit and reflect on how far we've come. Like even if you got a lot of inner child healing to do, like you're becoming the person to be able to help them. And what an amazing thing. Like you really need to hug yourself and congratulate yourself for that, right? And even if you don't sign up for the program, now you have some keys. Focus on that central nervous system and that subconscious mindset reprogramming, your inner child healing. That'll be your next steps. And just take it one day at a time. What can I do today? Even if it's only 10 minutes, what can I do to love myself more? What can I do to discover more within myself? How can I figure myself out today? Okay. And just take it one day at a time. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Love that. Space and grace, compassion, all the good things. Love it.
Yes, absolutely.
So, excited to get started in February. I will drop the links. And until next time, feel free to reach out to either of us with any questions. Sending lots of love your way.
Yes, you too. Thank you. Love y'all. Bye.